workshop to order, 9:17 a.m. Interim City Manager, any opening remarks?
No, sir, just we hope that this one goes a little drier than the last time, and we're able to get through the entire budget workshop. Kiki is going to kind of start over and just give a brief rundown, catch everyone up of where we were, and then we can dive back into specific departments. Or if there's any questions that you all have from previous that we've already gone over, we'll be glad to start there, just wherever the commission desires.
Okay. So we can, I guess, open with any particular questions, then turn to Ms. Roman to take us through. Of course, asking questions along the way, if needed. And then we will receive questions from the public at the end. So, all right, any questions for city commissioners?
Is there a specific way you'd like to do it to make it easier for you?
Thank you for asking. I would like to give you the 30,000-foot view first, and then I'm going to share with you the actual Excel document that produces what you have in front of you in paper. This has been uploaded onto the website. For the audience, if you don't have one in your hand, you can get this off the website right now. It was changed yesterday. So we were working until lunchtime yesterday trying to reduce the numbers. And I'll try and refresh my memory of what happened yesterday. But from the 30,000-foot view, this is a working document. We're here to hear your vision for the city and how we can support that vision through the budgeting process. This document is not something that I would submit to anyone. It's a working document. It is not in balance. It is out of balance in the general fund by $3.2 million. So we have additional expenses that we need to recognize and discuss here today. It does include a 4.5 millage rate that you did approve at the meeting last month. It does not include all the state revenues. I checked again a couple of hours ago. They're still not posted on the state website. So there is the chance that there will be additional revenues that we don't know about today. That's a good thing. We have some things that we can change, that we're able to change, and I'll try and point those out to you as we go along. But Harold, if you would go ahead and put my screen up, please.
Those numbers you normally get for revenues, normally that's in July, isn't it?
No, sir. And in fact, I can show you here in just a moment. They tell me that they're going to come in August. And last year, they came in late August.
Okay.
It's all the analysts at the state level who are. Sorry. There it is. So for, again, the revenues could be another 2 weeks from the state. So I have mirrored what we used in 25. I fully expect those revenue numbers to go up. I cannot predict how much. So I figured I always try and give you the most conservative estimates that I can. I believe that's my responsibility as your finance director, to give you the most conservative numbers. For the audience's benefits, I know the commissions have seen this Excel document before, but for those in the audience who do not know, this paper document that we produce is developed in an Excel spreadsheet. I refer to this particular part of the Excel spreadsheet quite often. It gives us exactly where the budget is going to land. I'm going to move that over a little bit so you can see it better on that screen. You will see there that the general fund has total revenues in this document that you have, $22,299,000. It has expenditures of $25,579,000. The difference is $3,280,000. Again, this is not a document I could present to the state. This is just for us to discuss. And if you want to make changes today, I can do it in real time and tell you what the differences would be, what the impact would be. Now, of that $3,280,000, $2,769,000 is the bond debt that we spoke about the last time we were here. So we discussed bond debt is going to have to come out of general fund. Over and above the bond debt, we have a deficit of $510,000. In normal circumstance, I would say, let's roll with it. We have enough in reserves to handle $3.2 million. I don't believe it's possible for us to find enough savings to cover the 2.7. So I will give you some options or to things to consider as we discussed today. The other thing to keep in mind, again, trying to move it on the screen so you can see it better. Do you see the box that says proposed millage 4.5? I have the taxable value there for all the properties inside the city of Lynn Haven limits. I can tell you right now what that millage would need to be if we were going to cover the bond payment and that $510,000. So if you give me just a moment, I'm going to demonstrate that for you. So if we wanted this budget to balance to zero, we would have to raise the millage to 6.45. Now, legally, we cannot do that because we capped it at 4.5. But I give you that number to keep in mind. With the debt service payment, the $2.8 million, which we will have to take out of general fund until funds come in from FEMA, each year would be closer to this number. Do you have questions about what I've demonstrated here? All right, so I've put it back at 4.5 and we're at a deficit of $3.2 million. The budget document, the paper document that you have, I've also described to you that it's going to be changing. Yes, sir.
I do have one question. If the millage rate is lowered, then what would that look like in regards to the deficit?
Sure.
I think previous years we've had like 4.05 is what we've done previously, or 4,
Let's try it. 4.05 ends up with $4,035,000. So that's why I'm telling you I can run numbers for you. If you want to model something, you just let me know what you would like me to model, and I can change these numbers.
Thank you.
Certainly. The paper document that you have in front of you, as I've described, is going to evolve. We are trying to win the award from the GFOA for excellence in budgeting. We'll be adding information, we'll be modifying information. The goal is to present you with a document that you can use in your planning and in your vision for the future for the city. The first page is a new addition. We have never had an org chart in the budget before. I fully expect that this org chart will modify over time, but this is what I was given this week. The second page has population trends, and it compares the city of Lynn Haven's population to Florida's population. The third page, you have heard me say before repeatedly, This is my favorite page of the budget because it gives you a summary of all of the funds, and it's a fast and easy way to pick out large numbers. The first green column in this right-hand side of the page, you will see at the bottom, it tells you that this budget has $62 million worth of expenditures in it. Again, we're short $3 million in revenues, and we'll work that out as our discussion goes along. But the document you have in your hand is a $62 million budget. The next few pages are the revenues. And each of the revenues, I give you what happened as of June 30th, and what we're proposing the revenues will be for fiscal 26. And again, this is out of balance. There's $58 million compared to the 62 on the other page. Legally speaking, when I present this to you in September, those numbers have to match. Okay, that's the statute. Those numbers have to match. The next pages are the position sheets. We discussed this briefly the other day. The methodology has changed a bit. We're going to full-time equivalents, and citywide we are adding 3 positions. It's if you'd like me to go through them, I can, but we're adding here and taking away here and modifying and changing, and some job descriptions are changing, but the end result is we're adding 3 positions.
Kiki, on the adding 3 positions, do you have any idea what that dollar volume is a year?
Not for the 3 positions specifically, but I can tell you what the difference between the 2 years of personnel expenses are. Yes, just give me a moment, please. So the difference of personnel costs between fiscal 25 and fiscal 26 is $730,000. What I should mention is there is a 3% COLA included in this budget. I had originally started with 4%. We made the determination to reduce it to 3%, given how I started this discussion.
This 730, is that including benefits and all, or is that just salary?
No, it's benefits, taxes, everything. The entire payroll will cost $730,000 more than fiscal 25.
And Mayor, 2 of those 3 positions we're adding, 2 of those are in the water department. So it's not a general fund, it's an enterprise fund that's affecting 2 of those.
Got it.
Can I say something real quick? And I'm just, you're throwing numbers out and saying that we're 3.2 in debt, and that includes and then you just showed the total expenditures for the city. And I'm from a different, I'm not a city finance guy, but when I'm faced with a number and I know we need to spend less, I take that, I find the number that we need to spend, and we do what's called a declining budget. We only spend, instead of 62 million, we need to cut 5% off that number. Okay, 5% off of 62 million covers $3 million. So our work is in this budget. Do we have to spend every dollar of this $62 million? We're tasked, can we find a 5% decrease in these expenditures? I know there's fixed cost, I know that, but there's variable cost. So, and I know labor's labor, and it goes up. And I understand that, I understand the challenges, let's just say that. But that's that's what we got to look at right here. When you're looking at whole numbers and where we got to go, we've got to dig in and find $3 million in these expenditures.
I guess.
Plus, if we get extra revenue, that's a plus, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. But
and I can't predict how much more there will be.
Right, and we're always we do mid-year budget changes. I know you do, things happen along the way, but we gotta look at this. We need to tighten our belts by 5% of this total expenditure number to cover where our deficit is.
So I guess one of the questions would be, I guess, understanding as we're going through where the primary deficit is. For example, like Mr. Lightfoot just mentioned, 2 of the positions are covered by enterprise funds, which wouldn't necessarily have an impact on our millage rate or on our general fund, because that would be covered by, our rates and such that deal with the enterprise fund.
Well, as is the case with your personal or business budgets, you also have to set priorities. So one of the additional staff members is that procurement manager. I would highly suggest we keep that position. That will be an additional cost for the city, but I think the benefit to it outweighs any monetary consideration today.
I
In the
think
long term, it's going to be the right move for the city.
we need to improve where we need to improve. We need to look at things, but we need to, just like the governor does, we might need to mark some stuff off, or we don't need that right now, So we gotta find whether it's adding a position and we don't add the position, or whether it's, it doesn't have to be in labor. It has to be in expenditure somewhere.
And I've got a couple of things to highlight for you as we get through. I don't have $500,000. I would suggest that we don't aim for the $3 million. I would suggest that we aim for the $500,000. The $3 million is the bond debt.
I was going
It
to
is
ask
what
this,
it is.
if I'm understanding the 3.2 million, that includes the 2+ million of the bond
Yes, sir.
debt. So really,
Correct.
we're looking at a little over $1 million then that
half
we're
a million.
needing to
I would
cut.
suggest we try and find 500,000.
Kiki, can you go back to that
I
first
understand the
page?
500. I guess what I'm trying to clarify is that of the 3.2 million, 2+ million of that is actually the bond debt, which we have to pay.
Correct.
So we can't cut that out,
Correct.
but we have the general fund to cover that.
We have fund
However,
balance.
we are looking at, although you're suggesting 500,000, I'm trying to get clarity for us that we're really looking at about $1 million in budget cuts. If we're trying to get to a particular number, as Commissioner Perna was stating, as opposed to cutting out which we could cut out the whole 3.2 million. That would be, other cuts. But of that 3.2, it's actually 2+ million as part of the bond, which we're dedicated to pay. And then really the variables within that 3.2 million is a little over $1 million. And you're suggesting that we look at around 500,000 that we're trying to cut back
Correct.
on.
We gotta shrink this budget.
So you'll remember that I referenced the audit number on page 14, at the bottom of page 14. That's the unassigned fund balance. So the 2.8 million in debt service is, after everything shakes out, will reduce that number in the audit by the 2.8. Is that clear? Okay. All right, so the next sheets, we talked about the position sheets. Then the next sheet is the grants. We will be receiving, I am forecasting, I should say, $9.5 million in revenue. Now, these are budget neutral. That means we'll have a revenue and a corresponding expenditure. So while these look like things that are large ticket items that we could remove, it doesn't change the number in any way because you've got money coming in equal to the money going out. So, big ticket items are easy to look at and say, well, let's just not do that. But then if you choose something from this list, you're not doing anything to alleviate the $500,000 I'm looking for. In your paper document, pages 15 and 16, these are the capital expenditures. Again, many of these are funded by grants. We can look at some of these things, but most of the big ticket items are coming in from grant money. So we can, like, for instance, the fire department, you have the $950,000 for refitting Station 1, or enhancing Station 1, I should say. If you decide to take that out, it doesn't help at all because there's no revenue, there's no expenditures. So while that's a large number, let's just not do that, it doesn't help with the deficit. Clear?
Either way, it's a zero-sum game.
Yes.
Correct.
Right. But if their state revenues come in and they're $500,000 more, that does help.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
So and in general, from year to year, do they increase by or decrease by certain amounts? Does it fluctuate?
Based on the economy.
Right.
So better the economy, more money coming in. And we've had a good economy this year.
Yes, we have.
So I fully expect that the state revenues will increase. But I'm not going to know for another couple of weeks. All right. Then we get to the chart of general fund. This gives you historical data. Again, the blue bars are actual historical numbers. The white bars are budgets. And you'll see that the general fund is going up, and primarily because of the $2.8 million in debt service. The next page, as we discussed before, I'm not sure how much time you want to spend on this. That's this body, the legislative, 511, going up $5,700, and that's primarily you receive the COLA just as the rest of the employees do. The executive budget is adding one position. It's just moving the assistant city manager out of the HR department and placing it into the executive. And that, along with a few other things, we've got some increase to the legal fees, and I may have to move that number a little bit based what I heard on earlier today. So we have a $200,000 increase to the executive budget. Again, you're adding one full-time employee, and you have some increases for the legal fees. The finance department is going up $99,000. Again, we're adding that procurement manager that I am going to caution you about cutting. And if indeed you decide to do an additional audit, we will need additional money for that audit. I'm told that the last time we did this, which was in the spring of 2020, that audit cost us $48,000. And that was 5 years ago. So if we're going to do an additional audit, I'm going to tell you we're probably going to need another $60,000 in here. That's a rough estimate. Next is the planning department. We do have a modest increase here. You had made mention of the pension going up, and I didn't realize that this was the pension number you were asking about, Commissioner Warwick. The reason the pension number is going up in this department is the previous employee was in the drop program, so no pension contributions were made for her. The new employee will not be in the drop program, obviously, and will be contributing to the pension. So that's the reason for the increase in this particular budget. Public Works, as we discussed, there are 3 people associated with Public Works. However, their salaries are being allocated to the enterprise fund. Debt service, this is page 28 of the paper document. That's $155,000. It's for a portion of one bond. One bond is split 3 separate ways from general fund, the water, and the sewer department. This predates me by a decade or so. I am unable to find documents on how they came up with the percentages, but This is the percentage that we have to live by, and that will continue for until 2027. That bond will be paid off. Facilities maintenance is 518. We do have a modest increase here. That also has to do with healthcare. Each of the employees selects different healthcare based on their own personal need. If a person is a single person, the city pays less for their insurance than if you have a spouse and children. So depending upon the employee's need, that number will fluctuate. And in this case, I believe that we've had folks sign on who have families that their people they were replacing did not have families. The administrative budget is 519. This is where you see the $2.8 million. It's at the two entries at the bottom of page 32, $2,170,000. That's the principal on the 2019 bond. The next line is the interest, $585,000. And then there are two more lines on page 33. One is the agency fees and one is the insurance. Those four items are considered debt service on the 2019 bond. Information technology. We've got a little savings here. We're moving some things around. I think that this budget may move in the future as well. The police budget. Again, some changes here with overtime and salaries, readjusting salaries. I will tell you that they are reducing their staff by 2. We're going down to 48 in the police department. We have also included, since the last document, we did include one additional police car in fiscal 26. That's to be paid from impact fees. I'm a little cautious about the impact fees, and I guess now is a good time as any to discuss that. Impact fees are highly restrictive. We cannot use them to pay the electric bill. They have to be associated with what they were collected for. The combined, if memory serves, we have less than $1 million for police and fire. If we do spend this $75,000 for one additional police car, you'll be down to about $300,000 if memory serves. I had been instructed in the past that that money was going to build fire station number 3 with a police substation in fire station number 3. I am now told that the current thinking is there will not be a police substation in fire station number 3. However, the impact fees will never cover the current impact fees. What we have in the bank today will not cover fire station number 3. If you decide to move on with fire station number 3, that will probably be another bond that you're going to have to come to issue.
Is that the Mill Bayou?
Yes, sir. And we also, in my report Tuesday, I want to talk about the possible legislative appropriation requests that are coming up, and what all the commission desires to pursue. One of my suggestions is to submit for the design of a fire station there, so we could at least have the design complete, and then we could pursue additional construction funding when the time comes. But Ms. Roman is correct. We are not going to be able to ever afford to build a fire station in cash out of impact fee money.
Is there, and we have the land, right?
Yes, sir. We have the easement over the 3 acres right now.
Right.
You said that was Mill Bayou?
Yeah, that's Mill Bayou is where we need it because
Have it in the back, so they're close by.
response times. Yeah,
Keep in mind too, if Marina Island does submit a development order,
we'll need one there.
like they say they will be required to build one. We will be required to fill it and staff it. So there is a lot in the next few years that could potentially change in the fire department budget.
So I'm turning now to pages 40 and 41 for those who are following along in paper. On the screen, I have the total for the fire department. As you see, there's a $2.4 million increase from last year. Again, some of these are budget neutral. So the 900 at the bottom of page, at the top of page 41, you'll see $950,000 capital outlay building station number 1 funded by FDM. There's no reason in the world to take that out because that is a grant. We will get that money. This is budget neutral. The next is capital outlay equipment, replace hose and thermal imager camera for $101,000. That is not funded by a grant. That is something you could consider. All right, then the next item here is the legislative fire engine for $980,000. That also is funded by a grant, so it would not make any sense to remove it from the budget. The last item is a rescue truck for $278,000. As the document you have in your hand right now, I'm using general fund money for this. If you instruct me to, we could use impact fees for that $278,000. This was trying to address the $500 that I'm looking for. So we could use impact fees, but then we have even less money available for Fire Station 3.
So, and my theory of thinking is we utilize the impact fees for the rescue truck. A fire station is likely going to cost us every bit of $4 to $7 million to construct.
We're way underfunded for
Right.
for
So
a
if we
fire
have the
station.
money right now in the impact
Use
fees,
it.
I say utilize it for the rescue truck.
Right.
But that is a decision the commission can make today of reallocate some of that, and that would help with that money we're trying to cut.
I'm all about it. Because we're just scratching the surface on construction of having the money for building one.
Yes, sir. And residential construction could fall out next week. And
Could
be a
we
few
also
years
ask
out.
for you couldn't ask for legislative appropriation for that as well?
the rescue truck,
Yeah.
we could. It would delay it another year, and we have
Yeah.
had a lot of mechanical issues with that rescue truck. It has completely died in the middle of a call in the intersection.
It's not
So it is a wise decision to move forward to replace it.
Yes, I think we should move forward in replacing that with the impact fees.
Did you want to hear from the fire chief on any of this?
We'd like to hear from the fire chief in regards to the hose and thermal imagery camera.
Mr. Mayor, Commission, Fire Chief Mark Johnson. Any questions you have, sir? On the hose and thermal imager?
Questions from commission?
Tell us why you need it, sir.
Every year you have to have hose tested. Some of our hose is now starting to fail. We need to start replacing those items that are over 5, 6, 7 years old. It has not been touched. We've been keeping them up to date as long as we can. We're at the point now with the hose, we need to replace it on one of the engines. Second one is your thermal imagery cameras. They're just outdated. Those items are what we use on a daily basis if we have a fire to go in and find people during search and rescue.
Sure.
Without those items, we are in the blind in a zero visibility house with smoke. So they are showing us where they are and heat sources. We also use those thermal imaging cameras if there's an electrical issue in your house to show us hot spots within the walls. The items that we have now are just extremely outdated. That's why we're asking for the money to buy the new ones and replace old items that have not been addressed for a very, very long time.
How long do those last for?
Thermal imagers,
Both the thermal imager and the hose tester?
I could probably get 7 to 10 years out of some of those items. The hose is just depends on how much we use it, how much pressure we put on it. It can break I mean, a new hose could come in and break. You know, it's one of those things. The thermal imagers, we can get at least 5 years out of those. So a lot of the ticket items within the fire department, yes, I understand every time I talk to you are expensive, but we're buying stuff that has not been replaced in a very, very long time. But we're also using those items as we buy them, and they're going to be with us for a very, very long time.
How old are these now?
I believe they're about 7 years old, sir.
Okay.
And do you test them regularly?
The thermal imagers?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. All our equipment is tested.
So they all still work?
They work, but we're down to a couple that have just not, they're not working anymore. They've just died.
A couple that don't work at all?
Yep. And if you want accurate numbers on those items, Ms. Tender, I can actually get those for you today.
No, I'm fine.
Those are life safety items that we keep on the trucks on a daily basis because, as you know, in the fire service, you never know what call is going to come at any time.
Any additional questions?
That's the $101,000, right?
Yes, sir.
Could that be impact feed as well? No. Yeah. It's wise money to save lives.
Amy, we couldn't classify that as equipment for the impact fees?
Because it is.
No,
the hoses and thermal.
I believe if you read the state statute, any equipment that is associated with an emergency response fire engine would classify for impact fee purchase. But you would have to,
I don't believe we've got enough money
yes,
in the impact fee.
yes.
We can look at that before the budget is approved, let you know if we could fund the entire rescue truck and the imager and hoses out of that.
Yeah.
Or what if we can fund a portion of it out of impact fees
Right.
and then the rest to kind of offset that. We can get an answer on that.
That's a good, I mean, that's just a shot in the dark, but
Right. I know for sure we can fund the rescue truck.
Now, is
Right.
there any help from CRA for this since Station 1 is in the CRA?
I suspect not, unless your CRA plan expressly provides for public safety expenditures with CRA money.
Well, we have help with the police department, which is public safety from CRA.
In what way?
the speed,
It was
different ways.
Radar signs or the tag readers.
All those tag readers we have all
Yeah,
over town,
release
they
them.
paid for that.
There has been discussion with the CRA advisory committee about the tag readers. Mr. Jenke, are you available?
Morning. Yes, if you recall, we advised against paying for the tag readers with CRA money.
Okay, but now I thought that was brought to us by the CRA to help pay for the tag readers.
Oh, sir, it was recommended by the police department. It was discussed at the CRA advisory board, and they explicitly pointed out that they are not in favor of using CRA money for paying for the tag readers. And every year we talk about the new project list for the CRA. The advisory board points out that they do not recommend using CRA dollars for paying for the tag readers. Bottom line is, the CRA can spend money on items that are listed or projects that are listed in the CRA plan. And the CRA plan, right off the top of my head, is not really focusing on any police emergency response equipment. It's focusing on sidewalks, on stormwater, those categories.
All right, so
RA plan, is that a book, a guide to go by, or is
Yes.
that something, okay.
Yes, and in the budget, when you look at the project list that I'm recommending to the CRA board for approval, each project item, each incentive, there's like a page number attached to this project where you can look it up in the CRA plan where this relates to, where you can find the connection to.
So Ben, you know that the CRA did not pay for any of the tag readers.
No, they
Do
did.
you
the
remember?
CRA
Does anybody remember
They
who did
did.
pay for them?
They did.
we did pay for the tag. I thought we paid
They
for the
paid
tag.
for we're
Yes.
leasing them, right? We're not buying them, right?
How many do we own?
We only own
I don't know,
one,
that's
don't
not
we?
your, I think, but,
I think it's about 4 or 5 tag readers, and it's a total of $12,500 in the CRA budget to pay for the lease.
Yeah, we're leasing them.
One moment,
Okay.
please.
but there has to be a lot more than 4.
No, I think there's only four.
I know of 3 right off the bat.
Chief Ramey, would you like to respond to those questions?
Yes.
I
It
thought
is-
other
It
cities.
is $12,500 currently in the CRA that we have budgeted for the tag reader.
He's paying for 4 of the 5. And I think if you'll, Chris may be able to speak on this. The CRA, it was just mentioned to me, Panama City does the same exact thing. This is protecting the CRA from every violent person that may be traveling inside of there and into this city. It sends us a notification within seconds. So that was the guise of the CRA paying for them. And I think if you'll reach out to Panama City and Panama City Beach, they're paid for out of the CRA.
Got it. So for clarity, so I won't be confused, initially we did approve for the CRA to pay for the tag readers.
100%.
Okay. Got it.
And there are only 5.
Yes, ma'am. There's 4 in the CRA, and we have an additional one on 389 because it's outside of the CRA. So where you're coming out of College Point, it's right there by that bridge when you're coming into the city. It catches the other main artery coming into our city.
Okay, and the one in the circle,
Those down by the country club, the country
Yes.
club actually pays their own, they pay for their own.
the country
The
club pays
HOA
for that?
pays for 2,
2?
incoming and outgoing. Yes, that we're connected to.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So again, our opportunity here is to use impact fees for the rescue truck and perhaps the hose and thermal imagers. I will do the research on exactly how much money is available and let you know if we're going to make an adjustment there. So we have the potential of taking that 510 down by 378.
A long ways to go.
Code enforcement?
Like eating an elephant, one bite at a time. Ben told me that a long time ago.
Code enforcement will keep the same 2 employees. There's a modest reduction here. Again, that has to do with healthcare and how those employees are choosing their healthcare. Protective inspections is the name that the state gives for the department that we basically refer to as building, which is 524. The city has hired a new planning person who will be taking over the building department as well. So that's why you see a reduction in salary here.
Can I interrupt, Kiki? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Back here for code enforcement.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to make sure I'm interpreting this correctly. The amount went up 549%. 549% in overtime for the general employee?
It's because it started with a very tiny number. So it was at $308 and it's gone to $2,000. So sometimes those percentages can be a little misleading.
Is that a category where it would behoove us to have another regular employee?
It's only $2,000. You couldn't buy another
Oh,
regular
okay.
employee
Okay.
for $2,000.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, gotcha. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions about code enforcement? Again, the building department, we are recognizing a savings there of about $75,000. Human resources, now we do have some changes here that I expressed to you last time we met. We will end up at 3 full-time equivalents in this department. The assistant city manager has been removed and placed into executive, and that's why you actually see a reduction in personnel costs. of $62,000. That's, you're adding one person and taking one person away. There is an increase for professional services other. You'll see an increase of $97,000. That's money for the executive recruiter to hire a city manager and the rate study that you have been discussing with the assistant city manager. So overall, you have an increase to the HR budget of $40,000.
Question. So you mentioned that the assistant city manager was moved to the executive, but that only gave us a difference of $62,000. So what?
But we're adding one person. That's not her salary. You've removed her salary and you've added another person's salary. It's the net between the two. The other thing that I will mention is we discussed the insurance, the liability insurance earlier. The assistant city manager and I are trying to get together with the insurance broker so that I have a way to identify how much of this can be charged off to the enterprise funds. Thus far, we have been unable to schedule a meeting with him. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that that happens before I bring this to you at the next meeting. But we may have to run with it the way it is at this budget approval stage, and then I might be able to correct it at mid-year after the holidays, if I don't get enough information from the broker before now and when we have to submit this to the state.
Do we still have the same insurance company that we did 2 city managers ago?
No, ma'am. We're with PRM now.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. We did discuss the Bayou Preserve. We are holding steady at 1.5 full-time equivalents there. We discussed that this is a grant. There's really no reason to spend time discussing any cuts here. This is all grant funded, but the grant will run out, and then we will have to address this as a city. It will be an increase to the city's budget in the long term.
And can you remind us what year that grant runs out?
I think 31. Does that sound right? 31.
Or if we spend more than
or before.
It's 10.5 million, right, or 10 million?
3.5 million
Okay.
or 10 years.
Okay, 10 years.
All right. Department 539, previously titled Customer Service. We're reverting back to a previous title for this, utility billing. That is what the function of this department is. They do the billing for your water and your sewer and your sanitation. They do not get involved with stormwater, as you are fully aware. That is billed on the property taxes. We do have a modest savings here, and that has to do with the building itself. Last fiscal year, there was money budgeted in this department to do some renovations. We still have $30,000. We have some bathroom renovations that need to be done. We did some flooring this year. We painted the exterior of the building, but we didn't use all the money in fiscal 25, and we're including $30,000 in next year's budget. Still, there's a budget savings of $56,000 for utility billing. Streets is 541. Now, this is changing. While you see that the positions are remaining stable at 7, you also see that there's a large increase in the salaries. The methodology is changing here. Mr. Lightfoot tells me that if you talk to the people who are listed as street workers, they would not be able to tell you if they're working for the streets department or the stormwater department. That they spend their time 50-50 doing both tasks. So what this budget does is it takes all of the employees who are registered in the streets department and all of the employees that are registered in the Stormwater Department and splits their salary 50-50. Again, I'm trying to give you more accurate numbers on what it takes to run the utilities. So the increase here of $300,000 is not actual increase to citywide because there will be a corresponding reduction in the Stormwater Department.
All right, so was it last year that we took the, I guess, directors from the director for stormwater and actually put them in the stormwater budget? Was that last year?
Also correct, yeah. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I
Might have
don't
been
recall.
2 years.
So there's three employees who are split equally between the 4 utilities. They were originally captured in 516 general fund.
Right.
We've removed their dollars from the general fund and charged the utilities for their salaries. Again, my whole goal here is to be able to tell you what does it really cost to run those utilities.
Okay.
All right. And even so, with an increase of $300,000 in the streets department, let me get this up on the screen for the audience. We do have a budget savings here of $874,000, primarily attributable to the legislative paving. So not necessarily a savings, it's a reduction because we don't have paving money this year. So yes, we've reduced the budget, but we've also reduced the revenue.
See that?
All right. Next is the Fleet Maintenance Department. Their budget is going up by $67,000, and this has to do primarily with fuel pumps and a bridge crane for $45,000 and an awning for the building of $20,000. That is something that Mr. Lightfoot can discuss if you have questions.
Do they handle the police cars as well?
Yes, sir.
And all the trucks, utility trucks, everything?
The fleet department works on every vehicle and piece of equipment we have, unless it has to go out to a specialized mechanic.
Right, like hydraulics and stuff like that?
We do a lot of hydraulics in-house.
Really?
But if it's something special that we don't have, it goes out to a hydraulic shop.
We got some pretty good folks that work on that stuff.
And we have 2 in the fleet department. That is something that we would like to bring to the commission. It won't happen this year, of course, but in the future, our fleet has grown significantly over the past few years.
Yeah, it has.
And our fleet employees have not. So we have increased their workload significantly, but not increased the help that they have in the shop. The bridge crane and the fuel pumps are very outdated. We replaced 1 at mid-year, and we've got 3 more that need replacing. And then we had the money, and we requested for the bridge crane is to help in the shop lift things safely and ensure that they can work on the bigger trucks like the garbage trucks and the fire trucks.
Where's their shop? Minnesota, Illinois area there?
It's at Public Works at
Public Works.
1308 Illinois Avenue. Yes, sir.
It's in one of the corners?
They have basically half of the building. They have two
okay.
overhead doors there.
Yeah.
2 bays.
Them boys need lunch for them. They probably don't get to go out for lunch, do they?
They don't miss a meal, but they do squeeze it in.
Which fund does fleet come out of?
General.
General?
Yes, sir.
I'll let everything that we're discussing so far is general fund. I'll let you know when we're done with that.
That's a lot of work. Those guys need recognition. They're keeping all of our stuff on the road.
I'd like to make a comment. It's not going to be popular. I'll tell you that right up front. It seems to me, and Chief Ramey, close your ears, but I feel like we spend an enormous amount of money every month in repair and not just sending it over to fleet on police cars and gas and parts and all of that. Have we ever considered not having police officers drive their cars home every day, but leaving them here? saving us on gas, other than those who are on call. I know other cities have done it where they don't take their cars home. I know we have police officers that live out of the county, so they're driving their cars home. I've been asking on a regular basis how much money we're spending on repairs and things like that. I'm just bringing it up because it keeps taunting my head, so somebody talk me out of it, or?
I can talk you out of it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Pat.
I just going off what you're saying.
Mhm.
I mean, are we smart about it? Do we track how many miles are spent not on duty, driving back and forth from their homes to work or anything like that?
Chief Ramey, come on down.
And actually, I have some information on this as well.
All right.
From a risk standpoint and from insurance, there will be changes in the use of take-home vehicles. This year, the insurance company will be reducing the coverage to what's called statutory caps, and we've had it higher before. They're also going to require any of the employees that have been designated to take an emergency vehicle home to cover what's called a non-owner insurance coverage. So they will be personally covering themselves for the commute. However, when it comes to first responders and marked vehicles, there is strong evidence to show that the increase of marked vehicles in your community reduces crime, and it does enhance public safety. Therefore, at the state and federal level, it is encouraged to allow that practice to the point where it's not even viewed as a taxable income item. Now, non-marked vehicles are different, and we will have to be doing a survey to determine how to change that practice. Going forward, anyone who has a reason for an emergency vehicle, and it can include non-first responders. A good example would be public utilities who have to respond on a regular basis to lift station alarms or to pipes that burst. If they're identified and it is approved and documented that they need to have a vehicle because of special tools, etc., that they go home with, again, they'll have to cover the extra insurance, and it will become a taxable income item, a taxable benefit. So we will be making a change. This has been announced through insurance. It's been on the brink for the last 2 years. We've discussed it, but the insurance companies and the industry were not pushing it. They're certainly pushing it this year. That will do a savings for both potential accidents that might happen during the commute back and forth and in fuel costs.
I know that there's a program that's been in place for, I guess, many years, where an officer who parks his car out front creates a better safety, like you said, and they're given an allowance on their rent for parking their car out front where they live.
Well, that certainly may be between private
Right.
situations. That's not with the city.
I have no problem with that because obviously it does create a better safety issue, but.
That's referred to as a courtesy officer. It's mostly with apartment complexes, so they give the officer a break on their rent for living in there. They also respond to calls for service or minor things that happen on the property.
Breaking up parties.
Additional questions for Chief Ramey regarding vehicle usage, mileage
Have you ever
tracking.
considered it?
It's a very difficult thing to do because that car is almost like a dispatch center. I would have the modem that is hooked to their vehicle through the Florida Crime Information Center. Every time we swap cars, we'd have to swap that modem because that modem is assigned to that officer to run all of his NCIC, FCIC traffic. It would be a lot of downtime. Those cars remain running. If you try to hot seat a car, which I think you're referring to, the lifespan of that car would be maybe where we're getting 5 to 6 years out of it, maybe 2.5 years out of them. So it doesn't make sense. We would be the only agency in Northwest Florida. You think about the active shooters that are taking place right now. all of our guys are on call, all their equipment's inside of those vehicles, and they can respond to the city or anywhere in the county within minutes. And that's another purpose, to have them in a take-home vehicle.
I'm just looking at the dollar signs.
I would add to that too, Commissioner Tender, over the past few years, we've been able to purchase new police vehicles, and you can see in your R&M vehicle line item, the police department has decreased as new vehicles have came in. Repairs have gone down, so not as much money has been had to be spent on repairs because of newer vehicles that have been introduced into the fleet.
And do we keep track of the fuel that's used?
Yes, ma'am. We have a fuel software, and every employee that goes in that drives a city vehicle, there's a fob in that vehicle. They scan it, they put their employee number, and then it monthly does a report. Accounting does their information for going to the right, being charged to the right account, and you can track how much fuel every vehicle uses per month and how often it has to fill up.
Yeah, before that, you guys were doing it by clipboard, writing it down and everything.
Annually, yes, sir.
It was a clipboard, yes, sir.
But the only thing I was going to bring up is for them to bring it home, they have to have that insurance, that we track that to make sure that they're updating it and actually paying for it.
Yeah, they would have to provide proof. And that insurance, typically industry-wise, might cost an individual $6 every 6 months. It's very cost-effective. We've had some instance in the last 2 years, our insurance company, we have to, they actually want to, if an accident happens during a commute, the city can choose whether or not to take on the liability by law. And they have been strongly suggesting the additional insurance, and then this year going forward, we're going to have to require it.
Commissioner Tender, your initial question to me was how much have we spent in R&M vehicles this year? The answer is $258,000.
That's a lot of tires.
Right. We left off at economic development. This I touched on briefly at our last meeting. Again, Mr. Jenke is not receiving a reduction in his salary. We are reallocating. We are charging more of his salary to the CRA this year based on the calendar that he keeps. We are increasing the economic development budget by $1.1 million, and that again is a grant. So this is not something that I would recommend you remove. It's for the Tennessee Avenue improvements, and that is funded by FDOT.
That's a sidewalk project, right? That we've already voted and approved. And there's no sunset on that, is there? 'Cause
DOT provided these funds to the city, and we have to spend them this fiscal year, or until June 30th of 2026.
I know that's a long sidewalk. It's Tennessee, isn't it? Tennessee from
5th to 14th Street.
Yeah.
Yes, engineering is complete, and I'm working on
and that'll
RFP for the construction.
And that'll be a great straight unbroken sidewalk for people to walk, and access to Kinsall Park, when you get down to 5th Street. So honestly, I honestly think that should get utilized and talked about the citizens, because, you walking on an unbroken sidewalk like that it's a good little walk for folks.
I think this is a prime example. It's this sidewalk will connect a lot of existing sidewalks with each other. So you're starting to see actually a sidewalk network being developed here in the city.
That was one of the DOT projects that we were awarded by the TPO that a lot of other people didn't get. We were ranked high and got that. So it was a good thing. That was the TPO working for Lynn Haven.
Moving on to sports and recreation. We did touch on this briefly at the last meeting. There is a reduction of $65,000 to this budget, primarily because of the King Griffin parking lot was included in the fiscal 25 budget. Clearly, we don't need any more money for that in fiscal 26. However, we are purchasing the cover for the gym floor, and I believe Mr. Ward discussed that with you about the necessity in any potential disaster to protect that floor, should we need that for housing. Next is Parks and Rec, and I think
Hold
this
on,
is...
I got a question on the sports. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
So just to help me kind of wrap my mind around it. So for example, it costs about $70 per sport on average for a child to play, depending on their age. Does that fee cover how much it costs to service that player? For example, like how much is the city subsidizing that at all?
So for you saying uniforms, or in what capacity are you
Just
saying?
everything, because you got to have personnel to run the place.
So no, not at all. $70 does not. I would suggest in upcoming to up the fees on all sports.
Okay. Because I feel like
We're the cheapest in the county. We're the cheapest in the county right now.
yeah. Because I know some other sports places charge like $150.
We just did that with the fee schedule, but we didn't.
Yeah, I was just trying to get like how far away are we from covering sports with just fees from the people using them?
Other municipalities charge about $80.
Okay.
What is a Boys and Girls Club? Do they pay, or does that cost us?
No. It's a partnership where we're just providing the building and they're providing the service for our residents.
All right, Parks and Grounds. We do have a reduction of $126,000 here. Since we met last, we have added a position to the Parks and Grounds for an administrative assistant. So these numbers that you have in your hand right now are actually different than the numbers that I sent you Friday night. And it is because of that addition of the one position. The reduction, however, of $126,000 has to do with the R&M buildings and grounds. We had $167,000 budgeted in fiscal 25. We're only budgeting $30,000 in fiscal 26.
And what's the new position?
The
Administrative assistant.
To?
Mr. Ferris.
So you're going to get an assistant?
Parks and Grounds. Parks and Grounds receives a lot of phone calls and a lot of traffic on people coming in. There's a lot of people that call regarding parks with questions about rentals, with questions about when is James Rogers Park going to be built. So Mr. Ferris is inundated a lot with a lot of phone calls.
And these positions typically, most of the directors have an administrative assistant. It's standard with the city, and they do a lot of the paperwork that's required.
And I think this was a position we had, or that Mr. Ferris had in the trailers. I just know it was like 2 or 3 people in your office. So I'm assuming one of those was your assistant.
That's right.
So it was a position that he's had previously that I guess phased out once we came into this building. But
And then where does the figure, how much are we paying that assistant? That's what I'm looking for.
Yes, ma'am. Give me 1 moment, please.
Hourly, it's a $16 an hour job.
now is this going to be
Thank you.
full-time? Because I believe before it was a part-time
It'll
position.
be full-time. Mr. Ferris is one of the only directors that's charged with doing all his own requisitions, all his own admin work, answering the phone. It just seemed appropriate as our parks continue to grow and be beautiful, that it would be helpful to get him out and be able to actually check on projects on a regular basis and not be tied to a desk doing administrative work.
Right.
All right.
Question.
Yes, sir.
I'm forgive me, but we were looking at doing some enhancement to Kinsall Park.
Yes, sir.
Is that in here?
That's what I want to pause on parks for a second and talk about. So we discussed the last meeting or last workshop the possibilities of adding another feature at Kensall Park in place of the damaged splash pad, whether it's bocce ball courts, a pavilion, green space, rebuilding a new splash pad, whatever the commission desires. But we do need to do something in that place. That park has a lot of traffic. However, there's not anything there, and there's a lot of potential, as Mr. Ferris presented at the last meeting, and as well as the James Rogers Park that we discussed, in the pre-commission meeting, and we'll discuss Tuesday. Do we want to pursue the FEMA dollars for that, or do we want to do it out of general fund and put the 428 money towards City Hall? So a couple different things we need to talk about in the parks budget. Again, don't have to make any decisions today, but definitely need them on the radar before we vote on the final budget.
I like what we're planning to do. I mean, we're not finalized, but we got our arms around what it would cost for the enhancements at Kensall, correct? So what do we need to add it to this budget now?
It is not in here.
It's not in there.
Yeah, we don't have
We
the
do
money.
need some direction from the commission.
But it's in our sights. I mean, we want to do something over there.
Yes, sir.
So
It was talked about in the strategic plan. It was talked about last budget workshop. So we would like some direction from the commission. Do you want to see something happen at
do you
Kensall
want to
Park
add
this
it for
fiscal
this
year?
discussion at our meeting along with James
James Rogers,
James Rogers?
as in an official plan at Kensall with different scenarios, the bocce ball, the green space, the new splash pad.
And a family pavilion.
Right.
Put pickleball down there.
Pickleball is an option as well.
Pickleball's an option.
Plenty of parking.
I guess the question would be, is there an estimate of what that would do to increase our budget if we move forward in doing something at Kensall for
It was
this
about
year?
200,000 is what we had anticipated, Ty.
No, that won't fly.
There it
Trying
goes.
to
So just as refresher, this is a general fund item.
I know.
If you do instruct us to go forward with these, it's going to make that deficit larger.
Yes, I think after talk with Mr. Baker, the estimates to rebuild the splash pad were in the neighborhood of 400,000, give or take a little, in order to give another option that would still provide multi-generational site and solve our event space need. We were looking at about 250,000. So there was a definite cost difference between the two.
I have a question with that. So if we were to go with the option you're talking about, would that reduce our insurance costs? Because I know we pay quite a bit of insurance on splash pads. I mean, I guess that'd be a Jennifer question, but
The insurance would want to do an appraisal, and it would be property in the open, which is less costly. There's more risk involved with the splash pad, so we're paying a risk level there. I can't predict how it would change the premium. Typically what happens is whatever premium we've set for the year will stay and will be adjusted the following year when they do an appraisal of our properties. So, for example, even if we added something that was more risky or more expensive, it wouldn't necessarily change this upcoming fiscal year premium. They would catch it in the future years and probably assess it at that time.
Do you have any other questions about Parks and Grounds?
Approximately, what's the yearly salary for $16 an hour?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't look that up.
That's
I
okay.
thought that answered your question. One moment, please.
Mayor, while she looks that up, is that something we would like to add as a discussion item at Tuesday's meeting of potential Kensall Park future? With, again, looking at the different options that Mr. Ferris presented and going from there?
I think we need to bring it up for discussion, at least bring it to the public light, what the potential is.
If we would add that for the agenda.
It appears to be roughly $40,000 with all of the benefits and taxes included.
Thank you.
All right. Next is the marketing budget. The interim city manager has given me direction to cut a number of programs in the marketing department. We do have the ICE level personnel. We're not making any additions or subtractions, but we have recognized $108,000 in savings on this budget. And some of the things that we're discussing is the resident newsletter would go out quarterly and be sent electronically with some paper documents here available for residents who want them. We're taking out the Halloween budget. We have removed money from the internal events. We have removed the Easter egg hunt. And I believe there's some discussion about limiting the concerts. I have questions about the marketing budget.
So with this cutting of the Halloween, is that canceling the trunk or treat that we've done?
Yes, sir.
And Mayor, we've received a lot of feedback from residents where if the city does do a trunk or treat, they don't want it on Halloween. They'd like to funnel the kids back into their neighborhoods for trick or treating. And we've noticed in the past couple of years, there is a lot of folks from outside the city of Lynn Haven coming. So we are spending a lot of city funds on families that live in Washington County, Gulf County, Fountain, and nothing against those folks coming to Lynn Haven, but we're spending a lot of our time and money for that. And the Lynn Haven folks are trick or treating or attending events in their own neighborhoods.
And I believe the original intent of the event was because of COVID, and we were trying to give the children a way to celebrate without exposing them during that time.
And I think it also, Hurricane Michael, October was, so they kind of funneled everyone here. So it was a safe environment instead of tripping over debris and street lights out. And it just kind of grew over the time. But I think it's time that we kind of cut that back and funnel the kids back to the neighborhoods.
All right. Then the last general fund budget is the animal control, and we are recognizing a $15,000 savings in animal control. There is an adjustment in salaries, but that has to do with benefits and whatnot. Again, different employees make different selections. But again, $15,000 savings in animal control.
Did we sell that microbus yet?
It is up for sale right now on GovDeals.
They're active bidders.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I do believe we will get a good turnout on that one.
And that money's going
directly to the animal control. Yes,
so
sir.
we could see this decrease, right? We could see more money.
When we receive it, we'll have to do a budget resolution to add it to the budget. So Ms. Roman will bring it to you. I don't remember what the end date is on the auction, but she can bring it as soon as it's done.
What kind of money are we looking at?
We have a reserve of $5,000 on it.
That's a very nice bus, people. I think we need to bid high out there.
Not enough to build
Up
a
your
library.
bids. Up your bids, folks.
No, ma'am, definitely not enough to build a library.
All right, the next page in the paper document is page 70. Again, this is going to be a little confusing. It says general fund impact fees. This is a different fund based on the accounting requirements. This is the money that I said that we added back, the police vehicle. You see the $75,000 there? That's the money for the police vehicle in the police budget. If you instruct me to take the rescue truck out of impact fees, this number will change. We'll put the rescue truck here as well. And what happens is when the invoice comes in, we charge it to the fire department so that years from now, you'll see it there, but I'll take the money and transfer the actual cash from the impact fees account into general fund. Yes.
So may I ask, just for on a yearly basis, what is the average or amount that the impact fees increases? I mean, like, what do we take in?
It depends on development.
Right.
Right. So more development, more impact fees. But I think I calculated that the fire department was bringing in $80,000 a year. Is that what I
I
told
believe
you?
that was pretty close.
I haven't
if we get
calculated the other
development
ones.
orders from Marina Island, they'll have impact fees, correct?
Yes, sir. And you can look back when we were looking at this, the trends, like when Andrews Phase 2 and the townhomes and all of those, the times those were built, you could see a tremendous increase in the impact fees during that time. It's kind of leveled back out, but if
Right. And we could be embarking on an increase again,
Yes, sir.
basically, if we're developing.
it's hard to trend impact fees
Sure
because you
is.
never know what's
You
going to.
don't. You don't.
All right. Next in your packet is the CRA. We touched on that briefly with Mr. Jenke. Again, we have reallocated his salary, so we are charging more of his salary to the CRA than we did in the previous year. I always say he is in the enviable position of having money to spend. He is supposed to spend his money as it comes in. So I can tell you, even though that his budget is going up $334,000, he's got the money in the bank. There's no problem with him
It's an
spending it.
enigma.
You have questions about the CRA budget? All right, now we get into the utilities. The water department is going up by $1.1 million. A lot of that has to do with, well, let's start from scratch here. You recall that I came to you with a utility increase several minutes ago. And at the time, I was calculating how to increase or how to set the utility rates to ensure that we had a zero balance over the next 5 years. This budget includes that increase that you approved several months ago. So that is part of the $1.1 million. Along with that, we had a reserve in fiscal 25 budgeted of $140,000. We do not have a reserve this year. We're going to have to take from the piggy bank from the water department. And if you give me just a moment, I'll tell you what that number is. Again, when I did the analysis on the utility rates, my direction was balance it in 5 years. So in fiscal 26, we will need to take $520,000. You see that cash carry forward number there? We will need to take $520,000 out of the piggy bank to fund the water department in fiscal 26.
How much does that leave us in there?
Couple million. It's fine. We'll be fine.
Oh.
I have no worries about this.
Okay, so we're on a 5-year schedule of rate increases. Will rate increase help offset that for next fiscal year?
Correct. Over the span of 5 years, we should hit a zero balance. That assumes no emergencies. Right? So should we have a failure somewhere in the system, I will have to recalculate those rates again next year.
This also has money in the budget to piggyback off the City of Panama City Beach's tentative contract to continue moving forward with the radio read program and changing out the stuck meters. It will also help with lost revenue and bringing in additional water revenue for that.
It should get better, not worse.
Yes, sir.
You have any other questions about the water department? Next is the sewer department. The budget in the sewer department is going down $156,000. We are putting $364,000 in the piggy bank. However, as I've told you in the past, the sewer department and the stormwater department are my focus. I, again, same methodology when I recommended the utility rate increases, balanced over 5 years. I am going to keep a close eye on the sewer department. I believe the cash balance right now is in the positive. Please look up the cash balances for sewer. I've asked Dawn to help
Not
us with
gonna
those
hold,
cash
is it?
numbers right now. I do not have concerns about this budget right now. We'll share any concerns that I may have in the future. I just want to keep this on your radar, that if you asked me the two things that I think about the most, it's the sewer department and the stormwater department. And as has been discussed many times, whatever we decide to do with the wastewater treatment plant, whether it's expand here on the bay or tie in with Bay County, there are going to be substantial investments that are going to be needed to be made. I'm told that either way, if we stay where we're at or if we tie in with the county, we're still going to have to increase or do a rehab to the headworks in the order of $12.5 million is the last number I heard. We're going to have to bond that or come up with an SRF loan, some way, shape, or form. The last number I heard for increasing capacity at the existing sewer department was $50 million. I don't know if that's still an accurate number or not.
That is still an accurate number. We need to go from 2.5 to 4.5 million gallons a day, and a good rule of thumb for that number right now is $25 a gallon.
If we tie in with Bay County, I'm told there's somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 million that needs to be spent. So you've got $50 million for the increase plus the 12.5 for the headworks.
And we were stifled by a veto this year.
So
But we're still going to move forward with the rate study,
Yes,
correct?
sir. So
That's in the budget.
We have put $75,000 in water and in sewer to fund our rate study. We have emailed the task order proposal to Bay County, waiting on Bay County to review it so that we can bring to the commission a Raftellus piggyback contract off of the county's consultant.
Right.
As soon as we get, I'm trying to get that done before October, so October 1, when the budget kicks in.
Right. And we were only vetoed for the rate study this year.
Yes, sir.
We haven't, the project hasn't been, not 10. And
No,
you got to
sir.
be crazy not to realize that we need to close a sewer plant on the water.
And as soon as we have the official rate study, it will show scenario 1, expanding the current wastewater plant where it sits, and what the rates would be for our customers.
And we time is not on our side because of future regulations and our capacity.
No, sir. And in the next few meetings, we will hopefully be bringing to you all a decision for you all to make on the influent pump station and headworks at the existing wastewater plant. Because per our consent order, we have to let DEP know what we're going to do. We did get included in the SRF list this year, so the commission does have the option to borrow SRF money at very low interest if that's what we decide to do. However, once we get all the information and the packet ready, we will bring that to the commission for discussion.
We included it. That doesn't mean we're going to get it, right?
No, sir. We
can get it.
If the commission decides to borrow the money, we are able to borrow the money. Yes, sir.
But normally those SRF loans, I think they normally have plenty of money for those, don't they?
Yeah, and they're
They
low
have
interest.
hundreds of $1 million sitting there, and we are on the list to be included in that. Yes, sir. It's not any principal forgiveness. It's all loan that would have to be paid back, but at a very low interest rate.
And it's based on our consent order. But if we made progress on the switch, would that offset the consent order if we were actually decommissioning and moving, so we didn't have to spend that money?
Well, yes, sir. If we decommission our wastewater plant, our consent order automatically goes away.
Okay. Just something that, I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's something that we need to move this down the road more.
Correct. This is something that the way the calendars fall, and as long as projects like this take, this is something this commission will decide to do. But unfortunately, probably none of you will still be on the commission when it's completed because the amount of years it takes to construct something like this.
I'll be dead. done.
And I would also like to direct your attention in the sewer budget. This is the first year in quite a few years that we are able to budget for lift station rehabs. We've brought to you 2 emergency lift station repairs in the past, I think, 4 months. So we do have $750,000 included in this budget to help us with lift station rehab. So lucky to get some of those done this year and be able to repair some of those high priorities.
Not push button emergencies.
Correct, actually.
Get it done before something bad happens.
Yes, sir.
Good deal.
And do you know the fuel depot, that whole project, is that costing us money?
Oh, ma'am.
Today or?
Well, in the near future, if they decide to do it this year?
So they will have to build all of their infrastructure that they need. They will, if they have to build a lift station to pump to us or any sewer lines to get to us, I mean, they have to build all of that.
Okay, that won't cost us anything.
Right.
Good.
So I'm told today, snapshots, remember, cash is a snapshot. This is not tomorrow's number. This is not yesterday's number. Today, the sewer department has $1.2 million in the bank. That is less than the 6 months that I would like to see as our cushion. However, we are functioning, we're meeting all of our obligations, we are solvent. You've heard me say all these things before.
Then halfway through the year, we're out of money.
We're 2/3 of the way through the year. We do have additional revenues coming in, but we will have additional expenditures. Again, this is the one of the things that I have focus on. We've just discussed all the potential debts in the future. I'm just trying to put it on your radar to make sure that you're fully informed of what the potentials are with the sewer department. All right, now the stormwater department. We have cut $4 million from the stormwater department. However, that's a little skewed. You will see at the bottom of the page, I'll give you a page number, page 83 in the paper document, you'll see Principal 17th Street ditch in the amended 24 budget of $4.3 million. You'll recall that you directed me to take those ARPA funds and pay off that note. That was done, I believe, in December of 24. That no longer exists. It is gone. The debt is gone from the stormwater department, and that was the right decision to make. So that skews the number there where you see the dollar change from the fiscal 25 to the fiscal 26, that the 4.2 million, that's basically the debt service. Now, the stormwater department, as you are fully aware, has generally one source of income, and that's the assessment that's on the property taxes. The lion's share of that money has been received for this year. If you're late on the property taxes, it may come in little bits and pieces. However, the vast majority of the revenue has been recognized and is in the bank. Today, not yesterday, not tomorrow, today, the stormwater department has $248,000 in the bank. And we've got 6 weeks worth of year left. So 0 money coming in and only money going out for 6 weeks. I have concerns about the stormwater department. You did approve an increase on the property taxes. That will change for next year. We have for fiscal 26. We will have an increase in the revenue in fiscal 26. But we're starting off the year, we may be in a deficit position at the end of fiscal 25 is what I'm trying to warn you about. You have questions about the stormwater department?
And do we still borrow from another department? No,
No,
we
sir.
don't do that any longer.
No, sir.
Okay, so we're standing alone, but we're going to start with a minus number, but we're going to get it more money in next year.
Yes, sir. Now, I would like to point out there there is no construction projects
Right.
in the budget. There are 2 design projects, but we do not have the funds available to construct any of our other projects. Now, if any of our
What are we
HMG,
gonna do at Mill Bayou?
that's R&M infrastructure money. That's
Okay,
not a
okay.
capital outlay
Okay,
project.
it's just, I know it's stormwater issues.
Yes,
so-
sir. There is you'll see the $1 million in the R&M infrastructure. That is, the majority of that is our ditch digging contract and lining Vermont Avenue from 14th Street to 11th Street.
Right.
That outfall there, that
That'll
large
help.
42-inch pipe, it's
Yep.
falling in, and that is to line the majority of that.
Perfect.
Now, let me tie this back to the earlier conversation about the streets department and us reallocating existing staff. You will notice on the top of page 82 that we're saving $208,000 in salaries. That's because now we've taken all of those folks, whether they're in the system as a streets worker or a stormwater worker, and we're dividing their salaries in half between the 2 departments. So basically, we added money to streets and we took away money from stormwater. Again, my goal is to be able to tell you exactly what it costs to run these utilities. So we're making these adjustments as we identify them. Further questions about the stormwater department? All right, sanitation. Sanitation continues to be the healthiest of the utilities. We do have a modest increase to the budget here. We are going to purchase 1 side loader and 1 knuckle boom.
Just our lease.
Purchase.
Weren't we leasing them?
Yes, sir. So we have 1 lease that ends October, and then we have another lease that will not end until next October. The lease, it has been nice to have. However, because it is a leased vehicle, it is not the best quality as far as the way that the garbage packs in the truck.
Right.
They keep the hydraulics turned down so that you have to go to the landfill a little more often because they don't want the truck to wear out.
They
Because
got
they
a
have winds
governor
in
on it.
Yes, sir. So we found another deal that we are pursuing as it's a 3-year, you buy the truck and in 3 years you're guaranteed to buy back, and the amount is in the contract when you sign it. So unless the truck,
So you'll get equity out of a used truck, basically, and you could roll it again.
yes, sir.
Buddy, you may as well sell snake oil. You sold us on the lease, and now you're going to tell us we need to buy one.
I really like the lease. Our finance department does not like the lease as well. But it's one of those things that the drivers are having hard times keeping the truck operating as efficiently as the ones we purchased, just because we can't manipulate any of the hydraulics and the
So
features.
right
They have to
now,
turn
it's
weight up.
best practice. Best practice is to own one.
Yes, sir.
And
It is nice to have if an issue comes
beat the
about.
brakes off it and then trade it in and get value out of it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions about sanitation?
You get more volume in your loads and everything if you own it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
So one owned truck can do 1.5 what a lease truck can do, or over one than what a lease.
Right.
Okay.
Just one question. I know in previous years, I believe I recall you stating that sanitation was basically a more healthier.
Still true,
Okay, so still healthy for that fund.
still true. All right, the next page in the document is page 87. It's the enterprise impact fees. The only thing that we have identified in fiscal 26 to use is that $300,000 when you reviewed the stormwater assessment. Do you recall that you were given a couple of different options to choose from, and you chose the option to transfer $300,000 a year into the stormwater department? That's that $300,000 that you see there. And that's the only use of funds that we've identified for fiscal 26. Everything else is just going to go in the piggy bank. Yep. Next is disaster recovery. This is Hurricane Michael. We've talked quite extensively about this. In next year's budget, I am including $100,000 for contractual services. That is Tetra Tech. We are including $50,000 in expendable equipment. That's for some things that need to go into the new facilities maintenance building. And you'll see that $315,000 number that we've talked about. That's the money that is still today owed to Culpeper, subject to adjustment. There are 4 outstanding purchase orders, and we still need to negotiate the liquidated damages. So that 315 may change. The rest, hopefully, will not confuse you. That's the debt service there. The Assistant Finance Director and I have discussed this, and we're actually going to record it here. So 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when you're having this conversation about the debt service on the bond, it will be in this fund. However, we're paying for it out of general fund. I'm going to take money from general fund and replenish the negative balance here. So hopefully that's not too confusing. We are not recording it twice. We are recording it here, and we're transferring money from general fund into here to make it whole.
I hate to make things go longer, but I gotta ask: is this where library money would have been if there was library money?
The library money, the $1.9 million that was received from insurance, went into this fund. Yes.
It's not there.
No, we're in a negative cash position right now in this.
Just a general question. Do we intend to rebuild a library? Or are we just, I mean, we need to let somebody know, because I get tired of answering that question every day.
I think we were waiting for staff to bring us back some recommendations after meeting with a design team on what we could do. What possible options we'd have going forward, because based on the previous non-binding referendum questions, the citizens basically said they do not want us to rebuild a library, along with the additional estimated $300,000 annual cost it would take to operate the library. However, they would like for us to use an existing city building to consider for the library. So those are two juxtaposing thoughts. Is one, don't rebuild a library, but yes, we want some type of media center or library. So if Mr. Lightfoot could sort of give us an update on where we are in the discussion with the design that is supposed to be brought back to us as the commission for us to make a decision going forward.
So, yes, sir, that is one of the items we discussed in the strat plan, and I've talked with you all about it. Do we want to add that into this year's budget for the design, what the architect can do, and then present it? Or do we want to hold off? I mean, as we talked about today, there are some budget deficits here. So if we add it to the budget, of course, it's going to cost some more money. But it's just a decision that the commission needs to direct us. Do we want to move forward with doing that architectural work?
We don't even know where it's going to be right now, right?
Well, it would potentially be on the south side of the senior center, expanding onto that building. Demoing that shed that's there, and then building onto that. There's a couple different options that the architect could present to the commission.
And wasn't that, what, 12,000?
That's more than that.
No, I mean to give us their...
Oh, the architect fee.
Yes.
Yeah, probably something like that.
I believe it was in that ballpark,
Yep,
yes.
Yep. I think maybe we should at least spend the $12,000 to get options from an architect. I mean,
May I make a suggestion?
yes, ma'am.
I am now not speaking as the finance director. I'm speaking as a citizen. I see a need for a recreation center where the city could offer things for older adults. We do a really wonderful job addressing needs of children.
But we have a senior activity club, and if we enhanced it, we could probably...
I was thinking more along the lines of classes, painting, ceramics, dance, that kind of thing.
And
You could incorporate,
It's the cool stuff about a media center. You do that. You do
could incorporate
scrapbooking,
a media
books.
center / library into a recreation building. I think that would service a lot more of the community. Again, I'm not speaking as the finance director here. I'm speaking as a citizen, what I would use as a citizen. I'd love to be able to take dance classes, sewing classes, ceramics, that sort of thing. So if you were thinking in the long-range planning mode, 50 years from now, what would better service the community? I think focusing on a recreation center with a media component and a library component would service far more residents than just a standalone library. That's my personal opinion.
So now, would that essentially be putting us at the sports complex then, if we, considering that we still have to use an existing city building or connect to an existing city building, that'll put us out at the sports complex? Do we have any room at the sports complex?
No, sir.
Okay. We would have to kick the Boys and Girls Club out. Okay. Now, are we able to use any of that space when they're not meeting?
Seniors, when they're out of the building, they actually utilize the gymnasium for their dance classes, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, when they're out, when they're not using the building, it is for city use.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Ceramics is tough. You got to have an oven. You got to bake that stuff.
So am I understanding that the consensus is we want to squeeze the architectural plans in?
Yeah, I mean, we do need to give the citizens some direction, which we're thinking of going.
Let's look at options.
Yeah.
12 grand to look at options.
I mean, we've already spent, what, 500,000 on designing something we're not going to build. So what's
Do we get to talk to them before they do the little drawings?
Yes, sir. We can have a takeoff meeting. We can
Yeah.
get them under contract, and then we can bring them into a workshop and have the commission,
I think that would help everybody.
or we can do a workshop, a community workshop, and they can do a charade with, you know, what can be there. And
I guess I would just caution us just not to, I mean, we've already spent 500 grand and we're not building what we spent 500 grand to design. So just obviously 12,000 is not as much as 500 grand, but just be cautious as we're moving forward that we're not just continuing to spend money and not making progress towards what we're actually objecting to do. So
That was the purpose of my comment. I
Yeah.
would encourage you to think 30, 50 years out, what's going to better service the community over the long haul. All right. Next, we have the COVID fund. This is a little tiny pot of money that's left over from that event that I just budget $5,000 in there every year just in case it flares up again. And then lastly is the Surtax fund, commonly referred to as 301. We're going to budget another fire engine here. This is the big item here. So we have $1,036,122, a very specific number. I believe Fire Chief has a quote on, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have it on the screen, do I? So in the paper document, it's page 90. And again, it's a fire engine for $1,036,122. This is a different engine. And we're going to be using Surtax money for that. I know there were comments in the past. I can assure you, since I've been in here working for the city since January of 2020, we have never used Surtax money for an engine. The last engine that we bought, I believe in 2021, we used general fund money to purchase that engine. It was not Surtax money. This is the first time we are proposing to use Surtax money for a fire engine. There was some confusion about that in the public, and I want to make sure that we're clear on that. We're also spending $1 million in paving and a few associated projects. I know that Mr. Lightfoot can talk about the asphalt preservation money here for $250,000.
yeah, that project, we're piggybacking off of one of Bay County's contracts. They're utilizing our roadways tracking software with the PCI scale, and they'll look at the roads that can be preserved to prolong the life another 10 to 15 years by a rejuvenation.
Do you have any questions about the surtax money?
Is this budget neutral to spend, or if we take it out for this year, does it affect the budget?
It has its own revenue. It doesn't
has
affect the
its
general
own
revenue.
It has its own revenue stream, and it's one of those jars that I talked about. It's its own fund. It has money coming in, money going
spend
out.
it on certain things, right? You can only spend that money on certain things.
Correct. It's very restrictive. But emergency fire and is allowed. We are allowed to use this on a fire truck.
So you mentioned emergency. Would that be able to cover the hoses and infrared cameras we talked about earlier?
I'd have to review. I don't know that information off the top of my head. I have to go through the statute again and see if it applies. I know it specifically calls out fire engines.
Got it.
Do we know, we probably don't know at this point how much surtax money we're going to be bringing in, do we?
I can tell you what if you give me one moment, please, I'll go look. Can't recall if this is a hard number or not, or if this was my estimate. This is a hard number. On July 18th, the state gave us this number. So I have $2,579,000 coming in.
But we're proposing 3,396 because we have extra money.
We do
sitting
have,
there.
yes, we have a
extra?
piggy bank and surtax.
How much extra we have after the proposed budget, do you know?
I don't have that off
If
the
you don't have
top
to
of
give
my
it to
head.
me now.
I'm sorry. I'd have
give
to
it to
look
me
at
later, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
If you want to give it to me later, that's fine.
Sounds like it's rainy day money. What do we normally spend surtax money on?
Generally paving. We have
Paving.
mostly used this for paving in the past.
But were we hurting on paving?
So we would like to sit on the surtax money until we bring you all the headworks and influent pump station
There you
with the
go.
SRF stuff
Mhm.
to see how much we could potentially offset from
Right.
an SRF loan or what we could have to do there. So
There you
before
go.
we make a decision on spending more surtax money paving or something else, let's look at the headworks and the IPS.
Perfect.
And that's one of the reasons why the proposed fiscal year 26 operating cost is much lower than the 2025.
You're referring to the
2025, you had this project here. We've labeled it as the senior center, but it was actually the stormwater pond and some infrastructure upgrades that tied to the senior center. So that project has been completed.
Yes, my question is, but we still had to, we get a certain amount of surtax every year, money that comes in, and we spent significantly more last year than this year. So we're banking the difference.
Yes, sir. We are just holding off on committing all of what we're going to bring in until we make a decision on the sewer plant.
Okay, yeah, that answers my question. Thanks.
So that concludes the budget.
All right, so we are still sitting at a $3.2 million deficit that we started with then.
Unless you instruct me to take the rescue truck out of impact fees, and I can look into the hoses out of the impact fees.
Off your hose.
But I will tell you, if we do any,
And
I know for
revenues aren't
sure-
in yet.
I know for sure we have enough money for the rescue truck. I don't know for sure off the top of my head if we've got enough money for the hoses. But basically, we're going to be out of impact fees for
Right.
the fire department. They're going to be gone.
Revenues might help when the state revenues come in. I mean, we don't have the final number yet.
Revenues.
No, sir.
We do not have the final revenue numbers from the state. And I can show you. We can go look right now. I checked it this morning, but we can do it again. I have placed on the document a link to the website, because it makes it easier for me. This is the website that we go to get the state revenues. And you'll see those there. It says expected August to 25. Expected August of 25. If it has a date there, then I have included it in the budget.
Okay.
What other questions can I answer for you?
Did have one question, and I talked with Mr. Lightfoot about this yesterday. And this last budget presentation, we got the handout on the cost of construction for City Hall, and it included FEMA, insurance, 428 projects, all of that. But it only showed us having $10 million for FEMA and insurance. So then that would put us at a difference of, I'm just using round numbers here, $8 million
7.4, I think it was, yeah.
to cover the rest of this
Right.
building. So then, as I understand it, we're being told that FEMA and insurance covered all of that. So where did we get the other insurance of FEMA money from for to cover the 7.4? Or did we use unreserved general fund money to cover that 7.4?
We will be using general fund money to cover that 7.4. And again, it'll change. We are still trying to secure additional dollars from FEMA. We have not given up the fight. As you are all aware, it's very slow in coming. I reported to you at the last meeting, I would fully expect that we're going to be talking about this for another 2 or 3 years before the project is closed out. And that whole time, we're going to be asking for as much money as we are legally allowed. So that number may change. It was only a progress report.
Got it. So if we get all the money that we're supposed to receive, then would that then cover the 7.4 with FEMA and insurance?
No, as of today, we need 7.4 of general fund for this building.
I understand that, but I'm asking, once we're reimbursed by the money if we receive the money that you're pursuing from FEMA, how much of that is going to cover the 7.4?
I think what he's asking is if we get everything that we're asking for from FEMA,
right?
How much would that cover with the 7.4? And I think what we're pursuing for FEMA, I think it's about $5 million. I think isn't it?
Right today, the accounts receivable balance. July 18th, the accounts receivable balance was $5.8 million. That was the most we could receive as of July 18th. I haven't reviewed those numbers since, so that may have changed. If we are successful in gaining more dollars for the temporary facilities, you remember they didn't pay for all the temporary facilities. I think that's about $1.3 million we're trying to get. Then there's about $700,000 that we're trying to get for the Tetra Tech invoices. So those are potential adds.
Okay.
The reduction that we know is going to happen is the animal shelter, the $600,000. So I'm throwing numbers in the air without the paper in front of me, but the $5.8 million of the accounts receivable from FEMA could go up by the $190,000 for the temporary trailers, the $700,000 for the Tetra Tech invoices, but it will definitely go down by $600,000 for the animal shelter because we did not build the animal shelter like we originally thought. We were going to rebuild the building. And there will be other adjustments to other projects as well. So again, that was just a progress report. It is nowhere near a final report.
So then how much do we owe remaining? So with the 313 or the little over 300,000, that's all we owe remaining on construction.
Correct.
We're done at that point.
We still have the facilities maintenance building that we're working on. So again, I
For
budgeted.
this building.
This
yes.
building.
How we gonna
That's
get
all
money?
that's left on this building, yes.
How we gonna get money from FEMA when FEMA's gonna sundown at the end of this year, probably? You know what I mean? FEMA's gonna morph into something else. So, I mean, we got our, we should be squinting at that money. I mean, it's not in our hands and may never be.
Well, I hope that's not the case. They do have an obligation to the city.
At this time, are there any questions from the public? We'll go row by row.
I'm sorry, I've got a lot of questions. You're looking at a 5% shortfall on what you got budgeted and what your revenue shows currently. That's just a starting number, and I realize that your job is to be very conservative on everything, which is how it should be. We're showing a 21% increase in ad valorem taxes income for 2026 with this 4.5 is what I see by the numbers looking at your first page in. So beware, that 4.5 is higher. I mean, it's an increase. It's a revenue increase. It's 21% increase in ad valorem taxes, and we're still short on funds. There's a decrease in the infrastructure surtax that I wasn't sure why that was decreased as much as it did. And I'm going to talk mostly about revenue and not about spending. Where I'm going to be is more on the revenue side. So why are we showing such a difference in the infrastructure surtax inflow for revenue? I'm looking for it.
You're talking about the 301 revenue?
Let's see.
Page 6.
Yeah, page 6. So you're going from a 4.8 million revenue in 2025 to a 2.6 million revenue in 2026.
Those are the numbers that I got from the state. And if they increase, then I'll increase it. And that's again, what we were talking about, putting it aside for later use.
Do you have the historical number like for 2024? What the number
Not in front of me, but I can certainly get it for you.
But I just, and I realize that once again, it's on the conservative side, but I would expect that infrastructure surtax number to go up.
Increase, yes, sir.
Right, okay. Let's see, and I do on the infrastructure surtax, y'all talked about it. I'm glad you're thinking about using it for the headworks. I know it's a fund of money, but we should be using it for infrastructure, and we really need to start working on building some funds for this sewer treatment plant that we've got to build. So I think if possible, where we can use the infrastructure surtax, that's where we ought to be trying to accumulate and do. And let's not just pave a bunch of roads that are okay right now. You're also showing the inflow from FEMA to be $400K for 2026, I believe. So you're not considering receiving any of what we're hoping to get from FEMA other than just that $400K, correct?
Again, that's me being very conservative.
Right, I understand,
Okay.
I understand.
And again, should the 5.8 come in next year, we'll use that for the debt service.
Certainly. I understand that. I'm just looking at the revenue numbers, and because it was not really discussed up here. Revenue wasn't discussed very much.
It wasn't discussed at
I
all.
wanted to look at that revenue because it is conservative. And you talked about the state revenue, getting revenue from the state. Do you know what it was last year, what we got last year from the state for revenue that you are currently waiting for the August numbers? They're not in the budget right now, right?
Right, that's the screen I was just showing you that they're still not available.
Right. Do we know what those numbers looked like last year?
Yeah, on a line by line item, I couldn't tell you in aggregate.
Okay.
But if you have a specific question on a line item, I can answer that.
But those numbers are not in the budget right now. But
I used the fiscal 25 numbers.
Okay,
If
that's
the
good.
fiscal
Okay,
20s are not available.
Okay. There's a line item for reuse fees that went away. It's not a lot of money. It's It went from
Sewer
something
department?
to zero this year for 2026. It went from 159,000 in 2025 to zero. It's on page 7.
You are correct. And that may just
Have we
be.
done away with reuse, or are we not?
No, that may just be an oversight. I need to look into that. Thank you for pointing it out.
Okay. Let's see. Structures for tax. We're currently going to be outsourcing, and this is not quite revenue, going to be outsourcing our building department permitting.
Correct.
And that's included in this. We see that as a
It
cost.
is,
And
as an estimate, yes.
okay, because that is going to be a significant difference where we were doing it in-house and now we're sending it out.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think that's almost it. Can I meet with Kiki and talk about the budget more in depth?
Of course.
I just want to make sure that it's okay for me to meet with Kiki and talk to her through a lot of this stuff, because this is kind of a high-level view of things, and I'd like to get a little more in-depth.
The way I look,
With her too.
I mean, the way I look at it, you're a resident just like anybody else, and anybody should be able to meet her, so.
Okay.
I welcome any and all questions from the commission and the residents,
Okay,
anytime.
I just wanted to make sure it was clear that I could do that. When I look at this, the sports complex or the sports and rec, you'd ask the question, when I add the numbers up on revenue, I get about 272K coming in to sports and recs through registration fees and special event fees and such as that. And that puts it about 1.2 million outflow above that we spend on sports and rec that we don't get in. So running our sports and recs department is costing us about 1.2 million by what I see in there. And you can correct me or we can talk about it later.
Yeah.
But that's what I see, the cost. You had asked that question and I just went through quickly and added stuff up. So that's what I see. Anyway, those were my questions, and I will get with you to
Happy to do it.
detail. Thank you.
Next row. Yes, sir, we're on your row. Are you representing your row? Are you representing your row? Okay, okay.
I do have a bad habit of being nominated for things. I'm just going to go generalities here. I'll pick. You got to be very careful in picking your subjects and your battles. But I've listed 3 subjects here. I'm not going to go into deep facts because I do get in conversations with this young lady here very extensively, and she's very good at answering questions. A long time we've been looking at Jamie, Commissioner Jamie has always asked for the bottom line on the building of this. I'm not going to get into that because you've asked the question. My concerns are the CRA, the EDA, and the library. In generalities, state of Florida is looking at the concept of the CRA and getting rid of it. We've got to take a good look at that. Our CRA director, which I've been very familiar with, and being chairman of the CRA at one time, the CRA advisory board is a fictitious board. It does nothing. All it is there is to rank. That's all it is. It has no legal power to tell you what to do with the money. They don't have that. It shouldn't even be in the sunshine group. They don't make decisions. They rank. Good one was the things you discussed about the trackers. They shot that down. You went ahead, and the board is the controlling interest. That is you with your different hats on, not you right now, different hats. CRA is completely separate of everything. It's under Florida statutes, set up in 2002, 2003, 2004. First director was a disqualified person from the animal control. In other words, dog catcher. However, its original idea was to get rid of the bad buildings in the city. That's been done. The hurricane took care of that. You failed with the CRA, the hurricane took care of it. All right, I agree with the state. Along the line, you had the committee set up with Selena and his merry men to deal with a part of the CRA. They were disbanded, thank God. All they did was take money from the CRA, $300,000 a year, and use it for projects they never finished. Mr. Schubert got rid of that. Your EDA director was taken out, and he is part of CRA. However, he's a part-time employee separate of the CRA. It is a CRA director. If we need an EDA director, let's get an EDA director. Let's let the CRA director do his job 100%. He's paid for by the CRA. His benefits are given to him from the CRA. He's under employment from the CRA director board, not the city of Lynn Haven. He is separate. However, he's being used as a tool by the forefront C managers that we've had here. He has been the lackey of that person for years. That's bad. It should work for you with your other hat on. Okay. Take a look at getting rid of CRA. The income from the CRA is quite excessive. Now, the TIF, $600,000 a year. Your surplus in there is very expensive. You could use that as your tax money. Get rid of the CRA. You don't need it. All the CRA projects are already incorporated in the city's projects outside the CRA. You've already got it covered with your building codes and everything like that. So that takes care of the CRA. You got to look at that coming up. It's sunsetting in a couple of years. Time to get rid of it. The EDA director I discovered. Okay. Under the EDA department, we are paying Bay County $34,000 a year to do what? Since I've been here, the EDA from Bay County has been nothing. We're just giving them money and they're walking away with it. We have an EAA director. That's his job. He's been doing it. Take that $34,000, give it to him. Set up a good EDA department here for us. That doesn't mean we can't go in concise and use EDA Bay County, or they use us. That's what getting along together is. So looking at the EDA department, I think we could take a good look at revamping that and helping out Bay County, and they help us. The library is a sore subject. You had an idea. I love it. I love ideas. I gave you an idea. This could have been done, paid for. You wouldn't have lost a cent. And you would have had your own library, and you would have had parking for the upgrade of Florida Avenue. Same time. Because the building that we profess to say could be the library has additional parking. That's for this area. It would have been paid for. You had $1.9 million. You've already invested a lot of money into the extension to the senior center. The infrastructure's been approved. Property is there. The architectural drawings have been done, all finished, paid for, and you're not going to use it. The $1.9 million you had over here, you reduced by giving a percentage of it to the architecture drawings and exactly that. The remainder, 1.6, sits there. You were told the building could be bought already there with parking, with structure, gutted, for a price maybe of $1 million. We haven't even discussed with the person, the owners. You could have got it for $1 million. You revamped the whole senior center from the staff that works here in the building department. Didn't cost you that much. We can have that done. You can turn the library back to the ladies that gave you the library for almost 100 years, free of charge. They could manage it. You were offered the old library. You didn't want that. Got to take a good look at the library itself. What can you get for the amount of money that you had? That $1.6 million is gone. We've tried to find out where it went. We think it's in the general fund. We don't know. We think it's been paid to the debt. We don't know. Very hard to get transparency out of anybody here of where money is. For example, how much did this building really cost? How much will it cost? How much money is still there? Those are the three subjects I think we brought up in here that I'm looking at. You've been given answers. I don't know if you made the right decision. The referendum that was on the election was not the right way to go. When you tell people that they want a library, you're going to get an increase in tax. No way. People right now don't want an increase in tax. You can see that. You're asking the people to bail you out again? Yes, we're here for that. We're not here to be abused. Thank you. Take a good look at those three subjects as you go through the next coming year.
May I answer a couple of those things?
Yes.
Currently, today, this building, $18 million. Today, $18 million for this building. All of the insurance proceeds, including the money for the past library, $18.8 million. I know these numbers get confusing because they're so similar, but this is a different $18.8 million went into Fund 101 Hurricane Michael Disaster Recovery. That fund now is in a negative cash position of $300 and something thousand.
All right. Thank you for that clarity. Ms. Walker, you have any questions? All right. Anyone else on your row? All right. Mr. Snyder, any questions? I guess you're the representative for the Finance Review Committee. All right.
Snyder, 309 Virginia. No real questions, just more of an encouragement. This is obviously a tough task. It's not anything that anybody wants to do, but I believe that you guys are up to it. If you work together to accomplish it, I think you're going to put us in a better position going forward. So more of a thank you. I know you guys don't get a lot of those. Have a good day.
Thank you. And any other questions from the public? That looks good. All right. So I guess our next question is, obviously, we're going to have to look over this, digest this. When do we need to come back? I know we're going to come back in September. Well, yeah, that'll be September. Our next time come back to actually give you some hard numbers on.
Well, I know this is difficult, but I have to present to you the tentative budget. Sorry, I always get these terms confused. Proposed budget on the September 9th meeting. What I'm garnering from the discussion here is you want me to use as many impact fees as I can for the fire equipment. Would that be a true statement?
Yes.
Okay, I will make those adjustments. I will get together with Mr. Bashirs and address his concerns. I will continue to monitor the state for better revenue numbers. I'm telling you now, the budget will change between now and September 9th. But I will have to present you a document on December 9th for you to review and approve. That's part of the trim process. That meeting has to be scheduled after 5 o'clock. I've discussed this, and on your consent agenda, we are changing the time of the meeting on September 9th to 5:30. The CRA will meet prior to that on the same date. Mr. Jenke will present his budget first. You've done this before. You know how this works. He'll present his budget as a standalone budget for the CRA. Then I will present the budget as amended per your instructions and with better numbers. And then we can make additional changes if you like at the final meeting in September. That's when it's done. That's what we present to the state.
Is it possible that in that pre-commission meeting preceding September 9th, that you would give us any, because once those revenue numbers are in, you have a better idea of what that 3.2 looks
Sure.
like.
I can give you an update then, sure, of course.
You could give us an update.
Happy to.
And then possible recommendations for budget cuts that we could review. Therefore, when we come on September 9th, we can be better informed on what we would like to consider looking at.
Again, I should have much better numbers by then.
And Mayor, to that week, that the pre-commission meeting, we'd like to schedule one-on-ones with each commissioner and the finance director, so we can go over the budget. Again, by that time, you all would have enough time to review what you've learned today, develop more questions if you have any, and then also maybe have a better understanding of any cuts that you all would like to see that we could prepare for that pre-commission meeting.
All right, sounds good. And that'll be after Labor Day. So I think that'll be that week of Labor Day, I guess.
Yes, so we'll try to schedule that Tuesday through Thursday there with everyone, and then be ready for that pre-commission meeting.
Your pre-commission meeting would be Friday, the 5th of September.
All right. Anything else from the commission for?
I was just going to say thank you to the finance department and all your staff for putting this together. I found this very beneficial.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Peebles.
I just want to piggyback and say thanks. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Commissioner Tender.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I wish you would just make the recommendations and we'd go yes or no. I trust everything you say.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you to our citizens that came and hung out with us this morning. Sorry we don't have lunch, but go out and enjoy.